Hi guys, this is Oshi and this is going to be my last This Happened for 2021 because this year is also over. And before I do anything, I just wanted to thank you all for being here, being on my channel, leaving comments, or not even leaving comments, just watching and subscribing and just supporting what I do because this means a lot. You guys really are the reason why I feel like this place is a community and I love being here and I love posting videos. So I just wanted to say officially and more formally than I did in my last live stream that I really appreciate you all for being here. So, December, like I said, I can't believe this is already over. I have a little checklist so that I'm hopefully not going to forget anything that I want to talk about. Unfortunately, my tarot space is still not ready because I'm still waiting on my brother. I know he was busy, but he needs to cut a piece of wood for me to be able to put that in to one of the shelves as a back side, and then I can use that and put all my decks there, and then I can just use one of the drawers that I have and put all the witchy stuff that I don't want, to lying around in the room in that drawer. And then I can have a space where I can just sit down and, do a reading. And I want to do that more consciously every day. In the evening, I want to finish the evening with journaling. I want to pick up journaling. I'm going to talk about my intentions at the end. But what I want to do is have a space where I can sit down, be in a more relaxed state and just do the readings. And unfortunately, until my brother does that, I can't because my nephew, is here often, which is like he's wonderful. I mean, I love him, but he's a little bit more than 1 years old and year or just 1 year old, and so far he wasn't that interested in the tarot decks. I mean, he noticed the ribbon that I accidentally left out from the Ostara Tarot's box, and he was like, "Oh, what is that?" And I was like, "Please don't." But after a while, even the fact that my cat sleeps here, because obviously I made myself, a little corner with really comfortable pillows and everything. So obviously my cat thinks it's her space. But so far, my cat is the main interest and focus point for my nephew. But after a while, it's not going to be. So I want everything to be, safely out of reach. That can't be done right now. So yeah, I'm not where I hoped to be this December, tarot space wise. But part of my lesson on this earth is to learn patience, and everything happens for a reason, and when it happens for a reason. So it's gonna happen at some point, hopefully. Fingers crossed. But yeah, uh, first things first, Christmas. So Christmas was kind of interesting and not in a good way. I mean, it could have been a really good one because it's been, I think we counted. I mean, we checked, and it's been like 10 years or more than 10 years that the last time we had a Christmas when everybody was actually at home, because more than 10 years ago one of my sisters had to leave to work in the US because living wages are awesome in Hungary, and she had to go somewhere to earn more money than she could have done it here. And ever since that, she couldn't come home in time for the holidays. And then my other sister left, and she usually came back in January, but she's in a new school now, and they have their holidays, more accordance to the Western holidays. So she was able to come home, which was nice. Obviously, I mean, especially after I last year when she couldn't come at all. But I don't know. And how I felt was, nothing had nothing to do with other people. It was just a clear sign, I guess, that something is not right with me, because I didn't. I mean, I got my presents and I was like, these are nice, but I know it sounds like I'm awful and ungrateful, but it's not. It's just more. It was more about something is missing, something is fundamentally not right in my life right now, and even my categories. And even giving gifts, which is the part that I usually really enjoy, it was just like, yeah, you got it. And then, I don't know, I was kind of four of cups about the whole thing. And I do think that it's connected to the fact that I feel that a big change is coming in my life for quite a while now, and I'm trying not to resist it, but it's hard because I hate change. And there are returning elements in readings that I watch or readings that I do for myself. So I know what I should do, but it doesn't mean that it's easy to do it and easy to believe that, it's actually going to happen. I know I'm being cryptic, but I don't want to be more specific because who the hell knows what's going to happen. But when you have that underlying uneasiness, in yourself, that you can't find your place, even at the place where you're supposed to be, it just kind of ruins things, I guess. But in a way, it helped because I was wondering, how I'm supposed to change things around when I have this at home. And then this at home wasn't as good as, as I thought that it would be. So it was more of a, I don't know, maybe it's just a self-talk and trying to convince myself that I'm supposed to do something when I don't know. So yeah, I know I'm not making any sense, but let's talk next year and then hopefully I will. But yeah, I do have that feeling of change is coming, and it's just, oh god, I freaking hate it. I can't deal with uncertainty, and I have that a lot in my life right now. So yeah, that was kind of Christmas, and yay. But good thing is that what I did for Yule, I think I did it. Yeah, I think I did it on the 21st of December. Is finally performed the spell. I mean, I talked about it somewhere already. I don't know if in these type of videos or somewhere in a live stream or something, but I did try to do rituals and I did try to do spells, but I always felt like I'm an idiot who's trying to pretend, like I'm waving my wand and just wishing magic would, come out of it, so to speak, even though that sounds horrible. But I found a very simple protection spell, and which was putting some ingredients in a jar and leaving them open in the four corners of the house. And what I did instead, because I knew that I can't leave jars open because the animals, that's just not something that I would want. Plus, I didn't want to do it in a way that anybody from the family could find it, because for some reason, I don't know, I didn't want them to know. I'm not that confident in anything yet, so I'm not gonna say I did that, even though they would believe me. So it's not like they would be like, "What did you do?" But what I did was, I came up with a little rhyme that went along with it when I mixed the ingredients, and I felt things working. I can't explain it, but my idea is to put 5 of these little jars filled with the ingredients in or around in our garden, because we have a 5 pointed shape garden. So I could do and draw a pentagram out of those. That was my idea. I was like, I need to do something with the pentagram because the 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 yard we have, or how is it called, it's shaped like that. I can actually do. I really knew that or felt that I should do something like that. So what I did is, I placed these little bottles, and then when I came back, I don't know, I energetically, drew a pentagram while I was chanting the rhyme. I don't know. Maybe it sounds stupid, but this was the first time that I felt that I was actually moving some energy around, and I didn't feel like I was an idiot trying to pretend. So that was, a very exciting thing for me. So now I know which direction I want to, or I can go to with, the witchy stuff. And I kind of find this very interesting because I talked about in one of Gerald's live, maybe for the Yule readings, where there was a card, the witch in the big at the side of the forest, or the opening of the forest. I think it's from the Yule deck, which I didn't want, by the way, until I think I saw the cards yesterday on, maybe it was Candy's channel. I think she was doing a flip through of the deck, or someone was showing the cards, and I was like, I didn't want this deck because I thought that it was like the Samhain deck, and I didn't like the illustration. I didn't care for that. But looking through the Yule one, I was like, maybe I should get this deck. So dang. But one of them has a card like that, and I kind of feel like that, which is kind of interesting. So yeah, but the more important thing is that I felt the energy moving. And and the other thing is, it was really cold when I was outside and in the dark, because I meant to do it earlier, but obviously I forgot. So I was walking around in the dark garden at 9 p.m. or something, and it was really cold. But when I was mixing the ingredients in the little jar that I had it before, because in some corners I had to throw outside I did that. Outside I throw the ingredients in all of the corners. Inside, which I did later, I placed tiny bottles in certain points. But when I was outside and I was doing that, even though it was really cold, inside of the jar, which was open while I was outside for like 10 or 15 minutes, it stayed warm. All the ingredients that were mixed were warm, and they shouldn't have been, because it was freezing. And how else would it contain the warmth if it wasn't magic? So yeah, I mean, for me that was like, oh, this is something special, something is happening. So yeah, that was really cool. So yeah, if you have any suggestion, books, reading, working with energy, I would love to do that, because I think I can do that, which is exciting. So yeah, that was exciting. And then I did my New Year's spread on. I couldn't do it on the 24th of December, which is Christmas Eve, is our biggest holiday in the house, because nothing happened the way that it was supposed to, obviously. So I did it a bit later, but it is a much more optimistic one than the last year. For starters, last year my numerologically counted card, I don't know what it's called, the card of the year, if you count your birthday against the year's numbers, was a strength. And what I pulled was the tower, so which was a nice match, because I need this strength for the lot of shit that was happening in 2021. For this year it's the hermit, and I pulled the lovers. So I mean, obviously it's so much better combination, even though it could be an interesting combination. But hermit and the lovers, that can play very, very nicely. And 2022 numerologically is a 6 as well. So I'm kind of feeling that maybe I'm gonna be more in sync with the word, which would be nice. Not feeling out of place and out of time and out of sync, which I often feel. So that's something. And I used a different spread than I did last year, because last year I pulled a card for each month, and I'm going to talk about them, the last remaining 3 months, at the end of the video. So you can just skip that if you want. I still want to pull a card for January and each month, but I want to do that before the month, because this spread was, and I posted it on Instagram if you're curious about it. It's more set up like there's a card for each area, but there's also, though everything is also divided into seasonal placements, which I kind of find it interesting. I don't know how it will work out, but I made notes. I went through with him finally. I didn't just make the made the pretty picture. So I'm quite curious how that spread is going to work out. I want to actively work with it for the whole year, and I want to make some notes at the end of the year, because what's the point of a yearly spread if we don't talk about it after a year? So that's gonna happen in next December, hopefully, fingers crossed. But yeah, it's much happier than the previous one, and just the cards as well. I mean, I pulled happiness for my relationships, which was like, and I pulled the devil for money, which I was like, yeah, I can be tempted in spending money when I shouldn't. So I will have to be very, very mindful about my spendings and not spending money on things that are not actually good for me. And what did I wanted to say with this? I think that's all. And even though I didn't start it in December, but I regularly post on my second channel, and I still really, really enjoy it. I get a lot out of doing these readings, and I just love how much I can use my decks. Even because normally when I do a reading for someone, I usually do that on Instagram, and I do a one card pull, or even if I do it and I do a spread, I just use one deck and maybe an oracle deck at the end. So maybe two cards, two decks in a reading. But I really enjoy doing this whole setup with a bunch of oracle decks, and I did my January pick a card as well, and it's up on my channel. And I came up with a new way of, okay, it's not new as in nobody else did it before, just new for me, that I pulled a card for each element, one being being spirit or the general advice, and I pulled an oracle for that I think fits the element, and then I clarified it with a tarot deck, and that was quite an interesting reading as well. So I really like that system. So I'm thinking I'm gonna keep that for the monthly readings. I also want to do something with song lyrics, because that was something that I wanted to talk about. That if you love The Witcher and the TV show and the game, there's Dandelion, and the actor who plays him, John Beatty. No, I never know his name. It's something like that. Why can't I learn his name? I don't know. It's just some curse. There's some curse on me learning names, but he's not on YouTube anyway. But he has a band called The Amazing Devil, and I haven't listened to their latest or previous stuff, but I listened Ruin on repeat since I bought the album, because it was so fitting for Yule, and just I don't know, it has a magical witchy feeling. And what did I wanted to say with this? Oh yeah, the lyrical readings, and there's a song that has a lyric, a sentence in it, and I can't quote it right now because obviously I don't know it by heart. But I'm gonna do a reading on that, because that just sounds so. When I heard it, I was like, this is a tarot reading. And I kind of want to do that with other lyrics. So I'm going to start posting lyrical picker cards, so to speak, on my second channel. So if you're interested, please go subscribe, because that helps my channel. It does, it really does. Okay, the other thing that I did, which was kind of insane doing it, and I have no idea if anybody is even gonna watch it, because I don't know if you can. I mean, I hope you can get something out of it, but I don't know. Is that I sat down and I pulled out almost all of my tarot decks. I eliminated only a few that I knew that I wouldn't choose a card from no matter what. So that was like, I think, 2 decks. Not because I don't like the decks, but what I did is I put everything on the table and I chose my favorite Fool, I chose my favorite High Priestess, and so on. And that was insane. And I kind of thought that going in, that even though I have like 25 tarot decks or something, so my collection is not big, that or maybe a little more, that I will be done within, I don't know, an hour and a half with or maybe a few hours with picking the cards, and then like an hour filming it. Yeah, sure. So it took me 2 days to select all the cards, and I think the total of the recording is like more than 3 hours altogether. So I had to cut it into different sections because it was just insanely long. So yeah, I'm gonna post that soon. I have to finish editing and doing all the things, but yeah, expect my giant favorite deck video on my channel soon. I mean, like I said, in pieces, because it was insane. But also, besides being insane, it was very, very useful, because every time I get a new deck, I film my walkthrough, my first impression. That's how I bond with the deck initially, and then usually, if no, I don't even, I have decks which I haven't even really read with, not even once, because they were not correct for the season, or I was working with other decks, and I just go through them and then I put them away, and I forget why I wanted the deck, because when I look at them in their boxes, I'm like, yeah, that's a deck I wanted. I'm happy it's here, but I don't remember how excited I was for the cards. And when I did this exercise, so to speak, for this video, I had all the decks in my hand again, and I was like, oh, I can't. Why did I, why didn't I take time to play with this? Why did I not read with this one? And there was so many decks that it was very useful, because after that I went into my wish list and I was like, no, I don't really need that. I have so many, other ones that I'm interested, and I left with a much shorter favorites video, which I'm going to post because I want to update my wish list, because why not? Maybe my family is going to watch it, I don't think, but hey, one can hope. But there's not a lot of decks on there that I'm actually just want because it's pretty. There's one, I mean, the Threads of Fate Oracle and their Voyager Tarot deck is on the wish list because they are beautiful and I want them, and that's okay. Yeah, some decks we just want because they are pretty, and that's okay. But yeah, I read those, and I'm not saying I delete them forever from the wish list, because there are decks like the Haunted House, which I'm very much interested in, but I have time. It's not as important to get a deck like that just to sit on my shelf, because I want to work enough with my decks this year to decide. Oh, my snail is up. That's weird. To decide if I want to keep them or not. I already have decks that I know, like the Santa Muerte Tarot, which I loved and I wanted to keep, but no, I'm not going to. Just it's I love the box still, but I can't. I'm never reaching for it. I have other decks that I would reach. Even if I had that one, okay, if I only had that one, obviously I would use it, but I don't have only that deck, so yeah. And the Dark Mirror Oracle, which is something that I don't ever use. I tried using it, and there's a disconnect with me with that deck, unfortunately. And yeah, I think I'm when I do work a bit with other decks, I'm going to film one where I talk about this. Not a lot of decks on that list yet. The only other one right now that I'm kind of sure, and I need to get it out to see if it's actually really, is the Nicoletta Ceccoli Oracle. I got that because I like the artwork, but I never find myself using it because I don't do readings where that deck would be useful. I don't do inner child readings, which I know that a lot of people are using it for. So I don't know. I don't think I will keep that, but I want to give it a chance. And what I do is actually, oh God, who? I forgot who's doing that. I wanted to mention who's doing that. Who, because I heard someone pulling an oracle card for every day. Maybe it's Candy. Oh God, I wanted to give you credit. I'm so sorry. I know that someone is doing that. That they are pulling an oracle card for each day as a daily draw. And I think I want to do that and not just pull a card, but actually read what the guidebook says, so I have a chance to connect with my oracle decks on a deeper level as well. And also, I did try the daily pulls with tarot decks, and half of the time it just made no sense. So I don't think the tarot for me. I think the tarot for me is more serious. And I'm not saying you can do a daily pulls with tarot. Obviously, you can. Just I think my mind wants something so obvious when I pull a tarot that it just it doesn't work for me for the dailies. But with an oracle, yeah, I can get a message like the first card, which is too far away, so I can't show you, is from the Star Dragons Oracle, because that's gonna be my January Oracle deck. Was about okay, I don't know the title exactly, but it's pretty much letting go and renewal and something like that, which was like it's the perfect fitting card for the first day of the new year. So yeah, I want to do that. I want to connect with my oracle decks as well, so I can weed out what I need and what I don't need, and to see where am I lacking. Okay, so that was those things. And new decks, I had 3 new decks that I want to show, because why not? For this month, one of them was, which I already posted the walkthrough, the other one is going to be up in January or even later, because I have a few decks that I filmed the walkthrough for in summer and it's not posted yet. But one of them was the Starcode's Astro Oracle, because this is a beautiful one. Let's see. And I have obviously a flip and a walkthrough. It has gorgeous cardstock, even though you're not supposed to riffle it, because then it's it's that sort of a cardstock that it will do this, and it's not going to sit and stand without what is it called? I forgot the word, but you can see what I mean. And I think it's because I don't know, but if I actually riffled it or if it was like that before. But if I did, then it's my fault. So don't do that. But look at that! How beautiful is this? I mean, look at that. Yeah, I'm completely in love with the art style. And oh, look at Aquarius. And I can't wait to actually learn astrology more than I already did, because the other one, the Heaven and Earth, no, Heavenly Bodies Oracle deck, I kind of I never made the effort of learning, from the deck. Even though did try to use it, and I used it in readings, but I don't know. It kind of this one excites me more, because I connect with the art style more. And the other one is a tarot deck, which is, I think it's called Mystic Tarot, because their Etsy shop is Mystical Universe, I think, or Mystic Universe, or something like that. And it's not a very thick deck. The cardstock is really, I don't think it has a core, just based on Lisa's cardstock video. Or if it has a core, it's just, I don't know, it's white or something like that. It doesn't have that, stiffness, but it shuffles really nicely, and it's a very simple deck in a way that, there are symbols and little drawings and more about the aesthetic. And yes, it's, shiny, but I don't mind, because like I said, shuffling is easy. And there are basic elements for each, cards. There's nothing about the meaning for the minors. So I talked about this in my walkthrough. This is the Fool, by the way, not Death, which I kind of find it interesting. But it has a flower, and it kind of like the Jester's head, stuff like that. I talked about it in the walkthrough, that I wanted this for my second channel. I wanted a pretty deck, kind of. And it reads well. I did my January readings with this one, and I was surprised how well it actually read. Okay, maybe I shouldn't be surprised, but I was surprised, because I wasn't sure that I could get something out of a card like Seven of Pentacles, because I'm very much someone who likes to use the illustration in readings, and I still worked very nicely. I didn't have to think about what I wanted to say. The information was flowing nicely how I like it, so that was cool. And the last one is the Work Your Light Oracle, which is a challenge for myself, because I see this deck all the time and I'm curious about it, but I don't really like the artwork, but some cards I really like, and I have no idea if I can use it or not, but I kind of want it. So yeah, I was picking this one up so that I can see if, I wanted to open my horizon, or broaden my horizon in decks, to see if I can work with a deck that maybe not obviously my thing, even though I love the colors. I love pastels, but there are cards in here. I mean, I love this, no. But the yes, I don't think I have the yes everywhere or anywhere, is definitely not my, I love this one as well, not my thing. So yeah, I don't know, we will see. Because this type of collage is not my thing. Like this type of collage, absolutely not my thing. But I don't know, I was interested in this deck for a while. And the tarot as well. But getting the tarot is not as easy, because this is a mass market edition. And for me, mass market is so much easier, obviously. So yeah, I was, curious, and I decided to go with something that I normally wouldn't pick, just to see how we'll, get along. And before I, talk about my last quarter, I think I'm going to leave that at the end. So if, you're not interested, you can just skip that. My New Year's, I don't do resolutions, because I don't connect with the word. As in, I always have to check what it means, because I don't have a clear idea of the English meaning, because I think that's the only, the only way. I found my, the backside of my snail earring, because I lost it. I thought that I lost the earring for like 2 days, and I had to try something else, because my ears are only able to handle surgical steel and lately silver again. And I was really sad and I hated the whole thing because I don't like wearing dangly earrings, and that's the only thing that I had. But I found the backside as well, which is interesting because, and obviously I stepped on it, so it's not that good anymore. But hey, just I mean, interesting that I found both parts because when I lost this earring, the other one, that was completely gone. I couldn't find it even though I went on hunting for it the morning when I lost it. So interesting, the snail can return. But yeah, intentions for the next year. Like I said, I want to do journaling because it is very therapeutic, but I need to do it in a way that maybe after I need to be okay with burning the journals once I fill them in because I don't want to leave anything behind that would contain these informations, because the only way that I can be actually as honest that I need to be for journaling to be useful is to know that no one ever will read these, because obviously I'm not a perfect person, I'm not a nice person, I'm trying to be kind, but I do and say and think shitty things, and I can't deal with those if I have to be afraid that someone is going to read it. I can't be as honest that I need to be. So I need to, find a way to do them in not pretty journals and stuff like that that I don't want to burn. So I think I'm going to find just simple notebooks, even though I have so many journals, but just simple notebooks. And then what I want to do is sit down every night, every evening, and at least write for like just one paragraph, because obviously there's going to be days when I want to talk about things and there's going to be days when I don't, so I don't want to force myself, but I need to do that. I also need to put my workplace area back in a way that I have access my main computer, because right now they are in the two opposite side of the room, and that means that when I work I don't have my computer next to me. And what I used to do when there was downtime, because from January there is going to be hopefully some downtime in work. Before Black Friday and Christmas there wasn't, and I was working on my book, and I haven't written a lot. I only a few ideas in the past few months, and it's starting to eat at me. And I wanna move things back here, so when I don't have to do anything work for at least, I don't know, even if it's like 10 minutes, I can open it up and write, because once I finished with work I'm just so exhausted mentally that I can just never do that. So I have to do that. That's an intention because I miss writing. The other one is, what did I write here? Yes, I want to track cards that I pull for myself, for others, for readings, because I want to see after a year. Hopefully I can make that happen. Not as insanely as which deck they came from. Just I want to have a tracker for all the tarot cards, and I want to mark if I pulled a Four of Swords or if I pulled a Queen of Swords, and I want to see which cards are going to be the main repeating offenders for the year. And I also thinking about doing that for the oracles as well, because I will be using oracle decks for daily reads and in my pick a card readings and for other people as well. So yeah, I want to do that. I'm quite interesting. Hopefully I'm going to be able to stick with that. And the other one is I will try not to get a lot of decks in. I'm not saying none because because no, that would be like stupid. But my main goal is to read as much guidebooks as I can, and as much tarot related books as I can, because what's the point getting them if I don't read them, right? Nothing. And sorry about that, my cat was having a bad dream, so I had to stop because yesterday was New Year's Eve, which is always fun for pets. So last quarter, for October, I had. I mean, if you don't know, what I did was I went through all my cards that I pulled for last year for each month, and I was just talking about how they showed up for me in that month. And for October, I had the Five of Swords, and the Five of Swords is being selfish. Uh, for me, is doing things that you don't recognize or realize immediately that what you're doing is maybe hurting other people. Only thinking about what's best for you. And when I initially learned and associated this with this card, I kind of thought about this as only the more negative side, because yes, selfish is not a fun and nice things to be, but how it showed up in this year in a lot of readings, actually, around the second half of the year, and especially for me in October, is you have to prioritize sometimes, even if you know that what you're doing, like not engaging with people, or I don't know, buying something for yourself because you need that for your mental health, but you know that you can't share that with other people, or I don't know how to give a better example, but doing things even if you know that it's selfish, because you need to, because you can't function if you don't do that, and prioritizing yourself even if you know that it means that you're being selfish, because sometimes we need to do that. And that was something that I learned when I was sick. There was a lot of times when I knew that it's not easy for anybody else, but for me to stay alive, I needed that. I needed to be selfish, and I needed to only think about myself. And obviously October wasn't as serious, but it was also the not helping as much, because I knew that if I would have done that, I would have burned out even more. So I was tired a lot of the time. Work was really, really exhausting, and I couldn't, I just simply couldn't be there for other people. And sometimes you have to recognize that, and it's better to recognize it and not trying to be someone that you are not, than burning out and just getting angry at people because they don't recognize that you need a break. At least that's how my relationship with the Five of Swords is lately, which is quite interesting. November was Four of Swords. Obviously, I was sick. I was sick already in October, and I was still sick in November, and I was still sick in December. That was fun. And it was all about, hey, you need to take, you need to rest. You're gonna get even more sicker if you don't do that. But half of the time I wasn't able to, because you have to work. So that was in a way um, a bit useless because sometimes you pull cards and the cards are like, hey, you need to change this, and you're like, I know, but I can't just change that, because we live in a 3D. We need to take care of things. So for example, when your job sucks and the cards are like, hey, you need to change the job, and you're like, yeah, I do, but I can't just change into nothing. I have to change into something else, and until I see that something else, I can't just do what you say. And I kind of felt the same way with this Four of Swords, because I was like, I know I have to take a break. I know I have to you know uh, relax even more. And there were quite a lot of lives that were cancelled for various reasons, because the universe was like, you can't talk for an hour, let's not do this. And I wanted to come back to doing lives in December, but I'm still sick, so there's no point. I have to do that. I mean, rest. I'm sorry. December was Ace of Cups, and yeah, I was hoping for the romantic side of this card to show up when I was doing the yearly reading back in last December, but it showed up more in the starting something new creatively and getting the creative juices flowing, so to speak, because I I'm redesigning my triangle shaped oracle. I was trying to do that as a triangle because I just love how it looks on the table when I, use the triangles. But no matter where I looked, getting it printed on triangles is just too expensive. It's too bothersome. But hexagon shapes are a thing already on make playing cards as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to redesign the cards in a way that I'll still keep the original idea what I really liked about the triangles, that you can pull cards and put them against each other or back to back, what's supporting or what's pulling things apart, and what's below and what's up, and all those wonderful things that triangle shapes can give you, and turn into a hexagonal shape, and find a way to still do that, and maybe come up with maybe a little bit of, modify the system that I came up with it. So it's not gonna be quick because I have to wait until I get my iPad to start working on the designs, the illustrations. But I'm going to do I want to do a prototype for myself, just cutting things out from cardboard to see how it shuffles. It's gonna be shuffling much better, how it looks on the table, where to put the keywords and stuff like that. So I'm gonna start playing with that when I have time, when I make time for it. That's how we do it. And there's things that are happening that I don't want to talk about it because I don't want to jinx it, which is really cool to be a part of. But I also need to gather all my courage and finish editing my first and last, not first, the last draft for my first book, and start sending it out, because what was the point of writing a whole book if I'm not brave enough to actually try to get it published. I mean, it might never get published, but if I don't try then I will regret that very much. So yeah, I need to do that as well. That's why I'm gonna move things around so I can deal with that. And yeah, that was my December, which is, and also back to the romantic and love part of the Ace of Cups. I also realized something that was holding me back, because I worked a lot on my own issues relating to love and those type of relationships. And since I never had an actual relationship before, I can't talk about having heavy baggage coming from that. But I realized that I had friendships, very close ones, childhood friendships, who, and not who, but those left, I think, a lot of, I wouldn't say damage, but residue or baggage behind. And I think that's where my main problem lies, with how to trust people, and why I'm thinking I'm worthy of a certain type of love, but then I act like I'm not. And there was I couldn't figure out why, because like I said, there wasn't like residue from romantic relationships that I had to work on. And I was like, okay, but I worked on the relationship with myself. So I was like, what am I missing? And then one night I was like, oh, but wait. I think it was shortly after I got the Reclaim Oracle. I wasn't brave enough to sit down and see where that's going to go, but January is definitely going to be all about that. And I think that was the biggest Ace of Cups moment, finally realizing where are those areas that I have to work on, self-love and self-acceptance, that I haven't worked on yet. And hopefully by the time I figure it out, I will be able to look at someone that I find attractive for all the good qualities that I want in a partner, and not be like, oh, but they would never look at me because I'm not like a certain type of person, which because they're stupid. But this part of me knows it. But I guess the more subconscious part is like, so yeah, that was pretty much an opportunity for growing in that area, and I hope that it will help, move things along, because next year is the lovers. I mean, this year, so let's be hopeful. More self love, more self compassion, and all that jazz. So yeah, this was my long. This happened in December, and I just, like I said, if you're still here and you're watching in the end, thank you. I don't know why you're doing that. You're too kind. I know how many people are posting, so I understand if you don't have time to watch, videos. I will never be angry or resentful about people for not subscribing, for not liking videos, for not watching, because there's limited time that we can do that. But I do appreciate each and every one of you who are here, who are watching, who are supporting. So thank you so much, and see you in next January and in the insane favorite one and all that. Bye.